Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's video we're going to be going over the 3 reasons why we bought the Springbar Classic Jack 140 canvas tent. So let's get to the video. Again, guys, thanks for tuning in to Heartland Makes and Outdoors. If you guys have been following my channel for very long, you know that one thing that I do 90% of the time, whether I'm hunting or fishing or camping, I'm going solo, with the exception of my little running buddy Buster. He always goes with me. The number one thing for me and Buster when it comes to looking at a tent is it has to be something I can set up by myself. The way that the Springbar tent is designed, all you got to do is you stake down the outside of the tent, you put the Springbar in the middle, you lift up one tent pole on one side, and then you go over the other side and lift it up. Your tent's done. Guys, this can easily be done in a short amount of time, so even if it's raining, you can get your tent and camp set up quickly, even in the rain. So that was the number one deciding factor. I've looked at a lot of tents. You guys know that we added a teepee to our channel last year, and it turned into a nightmare. I would never suggest going with that company or any other nonsense. The other thing, since we did have our teepee from last year, if you remember, we ordered it along with a wood burning stove that they never sent me. So we ended up buying a winter ale stove, and I'm so thankful that we went with the winter ale. Number one, it's a great quality wood burning stove, and then number two, Springbar actually works with that company. So when they designed this Classic Jack 140 to be a hot tent, they've got it designed around the winter ale stoves, and that just makes it a win-win for me because we already bought the stove last year and we've used it. I love it. It works great. So as you guys know, I'm a leather worker. So going in and putting an exit, cutting a hole and putting an exit for the stovepipe was never going to be an issue. The thing about it for me is I believe there's more engineering that goes on in the background than simply cutting a hole and putting a pipe jack into your canvas. The way they designed this 140 tent to be a hot tent, almost, I would say 3/4 of that wall, you unzip out that great big window that's on the one end, and then you zip in all this flame retardant material that was designed to work with a hot stove. So you're getting basically 3/4 of a wall, and just for argument's sake, we're going to call it 3/4 of the one wall, is going to be nothing but material made for flame retardant, heat resistant material. So when you go to put your wood stove in, you're not worried about it burning the canvas below or above or anywhere around where your pipe is exiting the tent. That to me was a huge factor, that they went to all this extra detail to make sure that it was not only going to work, it's going to go together smoothly. It's already designed for the winter ale stove, and it's done right. Guys, you're not just punching a hole in your canvas. I've had some bad luck with fires in my past, and you guys know me. I always test my equipment before I take it out. I had a buddy heater out in the shop the other day because we're gearing up for deer camp. So I'm testing it to make sure it worked. The thing blew up on me, and that's what I'm talking about. You don't have to worry about this tent catching on fire using the materials that are made for the winter ale stove. So to me, that was a huge, huge perk. And then lastly, one of the things that you don't hear anybody talking about, everybody knows that your cotton canvas is designed to be water repellent. Aside from the fact that it's water repellent from the factory, they also treat it on the outside so that it will basically beat up. It's kind of like a silicone. I don't work for the company. I'm just telling you what I believe it's similar to some sort of silicone treatment so that the water will beat up and fall off easily. One of the problems that I've ran into in the past, especially during deer camp in Oklahoma, sometimes you may end up with some of them days where it's kind of a light sprinkle to a light rain for 2, 3, 4 days in a row. And when you get those kind of rains, it will actually get the fabric so wet that you might end up with drips. Being on a 2-week hunting trip in the cold, the last thing I want is me to come back to camp soaking wet, go to get in my tent, looking forward to putting on dry clothes, and everything be soaking wet. It's happened to me in the past, but here's something that nobody's talking about, guys. Springbar has developed a rain fly that goes over the top of this tent. So now you're going to get double the protection. It's got a rain fly that goes over the top of your canvas tent. It's not going to affect the way that the chimney exits or anything, guys. And to me, that was like the major deal for me as far as, okay, I know that I can go to camp, not worry about the rain or any of that, and staying dry. And that is hugely important, especially when you're talking about colder temperatures, maybe even freezing temperatures. You don't want the inside of your tent wet, guys. And that's something that nobody's talking about. I think it's ingenious that Springbar, being they're one of the founding fathers in our country for making canvas tents. Now, you may have some people argue, and I hope, you know what, you can comment down below. It doesn't matter to me, but this tent was actually made overseas. But it's designed by the company here. They do have their flagship model, which is still made here in the United States in Utah. And if they would have had a rain fly for it, that may have been the tent that we bought. The tent that we bought is about $900 cheaper than their flagship model. And I know the flagship model would be great. It's built with heavier canvas and everything else, but this actually fit our budget better, being $900 cheaper. And then, like I say, something that you're not hearing anybody talking about is the actual rain fly you can put on top. Again, guys, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. We appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. We would love to hear from you. What are some of the things that you've been contemplating? If you're looking at buying a canvas tent, name some of the brands down below. Tell us what kind of luck you've had with the company. I will go on and I'll say this. Their customer service at Springbar is, if you was going to have to rate them on a 1 to 10, I'm going to give them a 12, and here's why. I sent them an email early in the morning. I get up early. My dog wakes me up. 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm on there, and I've got about 5 questions. Shoot an email with 1 question. Shortly after the company opens up, I've got an answer. I ask another question. Shortly, a little bit later, I get another answer. And I'm so thankful because he actually helped me decide to get the Classic Jack 140. I truly was leaning on their flagship model, but the rain fly to me was a deal breaker because I had already in my mind was thinking, hey, I'm going to have to figure out a way to tie a tarp up in case we get those slow rains that in my mind could just saturate the tent, cause a problem. I'm not saying it would. I'm just saying it's something that I would worry about, and I know how my luck is. So the rain fly to me was a big deal. But the customer service was just amazing. Towards the end of the day, I asked him, I said, hey, if I buy this tent right now, when will it ship out? And he said, Dale, he said, I can send you an invoice right now. He said, you get it paid for. And he said, I promise you it'll ship out tomorrow. He said, you'll have your tent by next Wednesday. We actually had it set up by Wednesday because it delivered on Tuesday. Again, great customer service, and I couldn't be more proud. Guys, we're going to be doing some things. If you guys, just like I mentioned, we're always going to prep before we go to camp, and I think setting up your tent is just as important. We're going to walk you through how we set our tent up. We're also going to go over a few things that nobody else is talking about. And if you don't want bugs in your tent, be sure to subscribe and watch the video that's going to come out tomorrow as we get the canvas tent set up and prepped and ready for deer camp. Again, we appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. May you have a blessed week. And let's get outside and make something happen.